it was kind of always my thing. Like I was always singing. I was annoying friends on the school bus, annoying my sister down the hall, playing guitar till 2 in the morning. I mean, I didn't start guitar until probably I was 9 or 10, something like that. So that's probably when I started doing my own music kind of stuff. But yeah, it was always part of my life.
Waking people up at 2 a.m. with your acoustic.
Oh yeah, yeah. That sounds very familiar.
I've been there. So once you decided that music was what you want to do, that's where your passion was, how did you get better? How did you, obviously you're sort of famous for your voice, your low, smooth, molasses, whiskey voice. How did you develop your appreciation for songwriting and the practice of it as well?
Yeah, I think I probably started diving into songwriting in high school. It was just, your breakup, young love kind of songs, and they were god awful, but it was a start, and I started just dabbling in it. And then once I got, started doing this, on this scale and stuff, I made my first record, didn't write any of it. And then I was like, I kind of want to get back into that a little bit on the next record. So I scheduled some writes with some friends in town, and we had a couple songs on that record. And it wasn't until like the next album, Seasons Change record, where I was like, no, like I love songwriting. Like I want to tell my story from a first-hand point of view. So we really sat down and wrote a ton, like just over and over. And I can't tell you how many songs I wrote for that record, but it's like I made an emphasis or a point to be like, this is what I want my records to sound like from my point of view. So that's kind of when we got really back into it.
When it comes to writing for you, are you the type to send yourself a voice message? Do you take notes in your phone? Do you have a journal, diary, or is it you sort of concentrating like from April 1st to April 10th? That's writing time. How do you sort of think about that?
Yeah, I don't think you can really ever turn it off. As far as when you get ideas, and for me, it's voice memos and it's like little notes you write in your iPhone. But as far as like when I get into writer's mode for the record, I'm definitely an album cycle writer. It just kind of gets my brain into that mode where it's like constantly turning over and stuff. So I'll have ideas from throughout the whole year, but once we know we're going into the cut, soon make a record, it's like the months leading up to that, it's just like boom, 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 boom. We're just don't turn it off.
Deadline, yeah. What do you like about country music? Just sort of an open-ended question for you, but what do you like about the genre, about the way the songs are written, the history, the heroes, the pillars in the genre? What about country music specifically, grabs your soul and doesn't let go?
Yeah, I really like it all, man. I love the instrumentation. I love the acoustic guitars. I love the steel guitars. I mean, we were recording just yesterday. I think most folks probably have the electrics or the drums or whatever, but like for me, I turned the steel all the way up. That's just like one of my favorite instruments, and it's so prevalent in country music. And I mean, obviously the storytelling is what makes country music what it is, and I feel like there's a song for any point in your life. If you're going through something, there's a song for you. They're not going to be the big headbanging songs or the most energetic or fist pumping stuff, but if you just want to sit there and kind of reflect on life, country music has a song for you.
How do you think about your voice when you write or when you perform? It's such a signature, important part of your story and who you are and your sound. When you talk about the slide guitar, is that in your mind? You have a joy for it or appreciation for it, but does it also complement your voice in a particular way? Do you think about the balance of all the components in a song like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think just kind of the music I grew up on, my voice is going to lend itself to country music and sound best doing this. I mean, I'll try other stuff, but I just might sound like a fish out of water, whereas I feel like I'm right at home singing country. When we're writing songs, we're definitely trying to gear it towards, my, what I'm good at, and stay in my lane. And like you said, the deep notes and stuff is something that other people might have it, but it's definitely kind of my thing. So we're adjusting the keys to fit it. We're adjusting the melodies to fit it, and seeing where we land.
Did winning the Clayton Idol at 16 help you for American Idol shortly thereafter?
I think confidence-wise it did. I hadn't talked about Clayton Idol. It was a little hometown thing, and I didn't even want to do it. I was kind of too nervous, but my folks forged my name on a piece of paper and signed me up, and I was kind of forced to do it. But I'm glad I did. It helped me a lot with my confidence. Be like, oh wow, people actually it's not just my folks that are telling me I'm decent. You know, people actually appreciate what I do.
That's really great. You know, my wife is a musician, and she talks about her mom really fostering her love of classic rock. She's a rock musician from a young age, and not every parent does that. You know, not every parent supports the arts, supports music, supports that sort of thing. And so can you that's a really interesting idea that they forged your name on the paper or whatever it is to support you and push you towards that. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, you know, it didn't matter what it was, you know. I mean, my sister doing, you know, softball or tennis, you know, or me doing baseball or music, you know. I was kind of, I love sports and stuff, but I definitely, you know, I wanted to go sing as well. I wanted to go play guitar, and you know, even there was one year that I wanted to do a musical at school. I didn't do too many musicals, but there was one that was Bye Bye Birdie. It was basically Elvis. So I was like, I want to go be Elvis, and I got the part. So I was balancing the musical and baseball season, and nobody else really got it. But my parents were really big on being like, no, if you want to do it, we'll make it work for you. We'll support you anyway. So.
Okay, it's been, I don't know, 15, 14, 13, whatever, how many years since American Idol, where that sort of put you on the map, so to speak. Now that you've had some years to reflect on that, what was it like in the moment, if that makes sense as a question? Or, you know, what do you take from that today, or how do you reflect on like the pressure-packed system that you were in when you were 16?
Yeah, you know, I think looking back on it now, I can really appreciate how big it really was at that time. You know, I got on the show, and it's kind of, they throw you in it, and it's such a whirlwind. You don't really have time to, you could appreciate how big it was, but like it's such an idle bubble that they keep you in. You're not going out in public and really seeing stuff. So looking back, it's like, man, that when I was on, it was still the #1 show on television. And, you know, I mean, there was paparazzi waiting for us if we'd go to the gas station or airports. And it really was a pressure cooker, but I think it helped me a lot. You know, it's just as far as, you know, taking that pressure and dealing with it and using it to fuel you and you know, not being afraid of the big moment, you know, because every day it seemed like on that show was a big moment you had to kind of gear yourself up for. So, but yeah, I appreciate it a lot. I'm glad I've grown from that. You know, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I think over the years I've kind of learned a little bit. So, but yeah, it's fun to look back on.
Have you ever talked to like actors who were famous at 15 or something like that? You know, you weren't a child star, and there's sort of a pejorative connotation to that idea in general, but like you were so young, right? And now half your life has passed, and it's, you know, was that hard to navigate? How did you sort of deal with that?
Yeah, you know, I'm pretty proud about how I dealt with it all. You know, I got started, like you said, so young, and I was a junior in high school when Idol was happening, and but I loved, you know, my friends back home, my family, and so I told my whole team. They probably didn't love it at the time, but we made it work. You know, I was like, I want to go back to school. Like, I want to have my senior year. I don't want to do online classes. That sounds awful. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd go back to school, and I'd hang with my friends, and I'd play ball or do this. But then Thursday through Sunday, I was on tour. So, you know, we made it work, and I think that helped keep me grounded and not fall into, you know, some of the craziness that you can fall into at that age when you're so impressionable and so young and naive. But I think that all kind of helped me, and looking back, I'm glad I did that stuff.
And it worked. I mean, you've had platinum and gold records and millions of everything. You know, what is the success at this point teach you or show you or tell you about who you are, where you are as an artist?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it means the world. I mean, it means that people are appreciating your music and are, you know, connecting to it. And, you know, I think I'd be writing these songs, you know, whether 5 people liked it or you know, 5,000, whatever the number is. You know, but it means a lot when people tell you, basically through listening to your songs and making an album or project gold or platinum, that, hey man, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your hard work. I relate to your music. And that's what I try to do, is write relatable stories, write from my heart. Because I do feel like we're all, you know, no matter what the news or whatever tries to tell us, we're all a lot more alike than we are different. And so write from the heart, I think, for anybody, if you talk to a songwriter, it's a good place to write from, because a lot of folks can relate to what you're going through.
And I mentioned my wife. We're going to have a kid here in about 6 months. I think I read that you're a new father recently. You know, what does family mean to you on this journey, and how does that work out?
It's huge, man. I mean, it's what it's all about, you know, and just being there for my wife and watching and her being there for me and watching Avery grow up, our little boy. There's just nothing like it. You know, thinking back on the last 12 years of my career, I've gotten to do some pretty cool things, and you know, Super Bowls and World Series and singing for presidents. But you know, raising a little boy is by far the coolest thing I've ever done. It's not even close. Just watching him have his own personality and watch you and mom and just become his own little guy, but also have little, you know, pieces of you with him. It's so fulfilling and so cool.
You get him a baseball glove?
And no glove yet, but he is starting to play catch. Like that's his new thing in the last week or two.
Cabinet Solo, the newest single. It's sort of this fun breakup song. You know, you mentioned breakup songs that you've been writing maybe your whole life, and I think I read that it was one of the most added songs on country music radio when it came out, which is really great. What do you want to say about the genesis of that, and is it leading to more? Or, you know, what's in the around with that single? Yeah,
you know, how we wrote the song is really how I'd love to write all the songs. You know, so often, you know, for a writing session, you know, we just go to this office building and go to a little room with our guitars and write, and it's great. We've written some awesome songs that way, but for this one, we did like a little retreat, went up to the mountains and, you know, Appalachian mountains, and sat around a fireplace and had our sweatshirts on and acoustic guitars and just wrote as many songs as we could, and Cabinet Solo is one that came from that. And I knew I loved it. I kept coming back to listen to it. It's really got that traditional sound to it, which is what I grew up loving. And I'm glad I kind of have some of those songs now to sing. But radio really embraced it right off the bat. I think our previous biggest ad day in 12 years was 51 ads, and I think Cabinet Solo got 126. So
double, more than double, yeah.
It really blew it out of the water. I didn't expect all that, but it really it was cool to see. So we're excited about it.
Must be gratifying, yeah.
Very, absolutely.
The future, you know, I think are you on tour now? You know, are you writing more? Have plans? Anything you want to say about the future? How you're looking at the future, personally or professionally?
Yeah, you know, I've been a road dog now for 12 years. We're going to tour, finishing up this year through December, and we're going to start touring in January next year.
Wow.
So, you know, we kind of have that no days off mentality for the road. So, we're going to be out there first quarter. We're going to be busy, and you know, it's got a new tour coming. We haven't announced it yet, but we'll be out there next first quarter, and just finished up this record, so we'll kind of be hopefully playing some new stuff off of that, you know, by that point won't even be released yet, but we'll try some songs out and see what the crowd reacts to. So
maybe a new release coming next year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hope, Lord willing, we
Yeah.
just finished it up, so fingers crossed it works out.
What do you love most about music? And you know, we mentioned sports. I wonder, is there a similar appreciation? Do they cross at all, or you know, what do you love most about music?
Yeah, music is it's always there for you. You know, I mean, you can always turn on the radio, you can always pick up your phone and play a song, and there's something there for whatever mood you're in, or whatever. If you're going to a party, if you're, you know, feeling down, if no matter what, you know, music is there for you. So that's been the case for me always. It's always been there for me, and since I was, you know, humming a nursery rhyme, or today writing my own songs and kind of getting to play for people. But it can lift your spirit up no matter how you're feeling, and it's special.
What's your favorite nursery rhyme?
The one that I hummed, and I'm trying to get my kid to hum now, is it's called Bye Baby Bunting. You know,
Okay, yeah.
That kind of thing. So that was the go-to growing up. So
3 songs you either want to write or you're going to listen to on repeat, and 3 hopes for your 30s.
You know, I'd like to write a song kind of about Avery growing up. I've written kind of a song for Avery, just kind of his start and how we feel having him, but like watching him grow up would be a cool song to write. Appalachian-y, mountainy kind of song, folksy, would be kind of a cool area for me to go into. I've never really dived into that before, but and then maybe just you know, a golf song with the boys. I've never written about golf. I don't know how golf and country music would work, but I do love to hit the links. And then 3 hopes for 30 and on. You know, I hope to be, again, everything's so focused around, I hope to be a great dad for Avery. You know, I hope this next album connects with people. I hope they love the music and relate to it and want to jam to it. And hope to just continue to build my craft, become a better songwriter, and you know, maybe write a little bit more throughout the year as opposed to being so locked in on the album cycle. I feel like that would help me dive back into it whenever I do get heavy on it for the album cycle. So here it is.